according to this, we are streaming and the audio is working. Hopefully this is going to be one of the first times that we get this right on the first go. Kind of checking here to see if maybe we are live. Yep, I'm seeing it live on YouTube. So let me pull up the chat, which would be here somewhere. Just a moment. But welcome. If this is your first time here, my name is Ben, and you are with Speedrun Seeds. This is our weekly live stream. We do this every week, and we talk about a different subject. Okay, I can see the chat here. Hey, Joe, David, Ed, Ian, Fox Guy, Other Joe, Ken, all you guys are here. Sorry I didn't see you before. You can hear us. Audio's on point. Sounds like maybe the audio quality is a little better this time than it was last time. I'm hoping. Yeah. We got some big news tonight. And pardon me if you see me like sweating a little bit. It's because I've got a pretty bad fever at the moment, and I took some Tylenol, so the fever's kind of breaking, and it's just even a fan doesn't help. So it's like if you see me sweating a little bit, just ignore it. I'm a little sick, but that's not going to stop me from being here with you guys tonight. So what's up, Max? Happy that you made it. So we're going to try something new tonight. Well, first of all, let's go through the announcements. Nutrients are shipping this week. The nutrient packs are approved, all ready to go. And probably Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and most likely Friday also, we'll be shipping them in batches. A lot that were pre-ordered. So we're going to be shipping those in batches this week, and that's what's happening. So we're going to be shipping those. Also, we have a strain dropping on Friday. We're doing another drop on Friday. And we'll be posting some more information about that. We've got some dope pictures to post of that strain. We have got actually a few new strains that are going to be coming out, and we have two right now that we haven't really decided 100% which one we're dropping this Friday. But I think I might just go ahead and make the decision on the spot right now. And we're going to go ahead and drop the... You know what? No. I'll leave that one for a Facebook and Instagram post. I'll post about it because I don't want to speak for everybody else. It's a group decision of what we drop. So I will tell you that we have some sapphire crosses. We have some granite haze crosses. We might even have a sapphire cross with granite haze. That is extremely good. I'm sure if you guys have grown those two strains, that those are some super frosty strains there, and this one just comes out awesome. Those are two very vigorous plants, and also extremely, really like super terpy, greasy, terpy, and just extremely frosty, super aesthetic plants. And those two strains coming together has made something. It might be like the best looking strain that we have so far. We also have some Frosted Cheerios crosses, and those are going to be coming out soon too. There's also some new blood coming in, so we've got some new genetics that you guys haven't seen from us before that we've been working for quite a long time, and you're going to be seeing those pop up in the next month or so here. But yeah, so that's some info about the drop, and then this week actually is when the mystery beans are going up. So you will be able to pick up mystery beans, and those are half the price of what our normal packs are. They come in larger quantities too. And on Fridays, they are $5 each. So we're doing the $5 Fridays. This Friday is going to be the first one. And we might even, when we drop them, do one day where they're $5, and then it'll be every Friday after that. So maybe on drop day, we'll go ahead and do we might drop those ahead of, or maybe with the drop on Friday. We'll make a decision there. But let us know. If you want us to drop the mystery beans before the drop on Friday, let us know. But other than that, we'll probably just drop them at the same time, and we'll do either, we're probably going to do an unreleased freebie, with the new drop on Friday, or we're going to send it with a pack of mystery beans, which you'll get so unreleased freebie, you get a few seeds of a strain that's not released. If we were to send it with some mystery beans, you would get way more seeds with it. So maybe I'll do a little poll on Facebook or something, and you guys can let me know which one you would prefer. But we do have some unreleased freebies that are going to be ready to go very soon here. So yeah. Max is saying you can't wait for the new granite drop. Yeah, dude, that one's so good. That one's really good. Cool. Yeah, don't see any questions that I'm missing here. He says huge plants like diamond snow cones, Joe. Yeah, 100%. That's a good way to phrase it. They are extremely good. So yeah, looking forward to everybody being able to try the nutrient line. This is something that got a little bit delayed, but such is the way of things in this industry, and with something that's new like that, things happen, little mistakes are made, and it's okay. We overcame that, and we're really excited to start shipping it. We're very excited to get you guys running some nutrients that are going to just blast your plants off. So all right. So tonight we have got. I'll take any questions, by the way, too. Hey Joe, what's up? King Deathwish, Sammy, Norma. Don't think I saw you guys before, so what's up? Good to see you. Okay, so what I am going to do here, I've got a lot of windows open on my screen, so I'm going to make sure I get this right. I am going to shrink myself down, maybe about that size, and then what you're seeing here, let's see if I can get it. What you're seeing here is I've got my tablet up, so I should be able to write, and you guys will see what I am writing, and I figure this now if I could write and talk at the same time, that would be great. But we're going to do the nutrient tier list tonight. We're going to start it, and I think I've got time for a good number of them. I've got 3 queued up, and then if we can get past, I think we're going to, pardon me, if we can get past, the first 3, maybe I'll pull up some ones that I haven't really, done too much prep on, and you guys can see the process of what it looks like when I look at these for the first time. Maybe I'll pull up one that I hadn't really heard of or ever explored before. But yeah, so tonight we're going to start with general hydroponics. That was one that got requested, and it's one that I, talk about quite a lot. It's one that you might not have heard me talk about as much. I'll mention Athena. Athena is another one where, we'll talk about that one. Probably not tonight, though. I'm going to talk about a nutrient line that I think does a relatively good job, one that's kind of in the middle, and one that kind of falls on the other side of doing a good job. These are obviously, I'm looking at the numbers here. I'm looking at the science of what is in this nutrient line. What are you getting? Is there anything else that you would have to add to this to get a complete nutritional system for your plant, to have your plant fertility at the best possible level, to get your plant where it needs to be? Is there anything that this nutrient line can't provide? And then are the feeding schedules that the company is suggesting, are they correct, not only for, plants, cannabis plants in general, but for autoflowers too, because we're an autoflower company. I want to make this autoflower specific, so that's going to factor into my ranking here. And the feeding schedules that are suggested, I'm going to sort of factor that into the tiers. So I will kind of real quick go over the tiers. We have got S tier. S tier, if you guys aren't familiar, that is like, I think it's a Japanese thing. It's like above A. So we don't have that here in the US, but this is how people typically do tier lists. So that is, that's what we're going to do here. And S tier is like the best. I'm guessing it stands for like superior or super or something. Not positive, but somebody in the chat knows what S tier stands for. I guess I could look it up real quick. Now I'm kind of curious. Let's see. What does S tier stand for? Special, super, or the Japanese word for exemplary. Okay, so that's what that is. S tier is just like up there, the best. And then there's A. I'm not going to put tier. I'm just going to put S, A, B, C, D, E, F. These are the tiers. And I'm going to put just so like, here, wait, let's do this real quick. I probably should have done this ahead of time, but I am going to put some lines here, and I will put the initials for the nutrient line that I am ranking. I will put the initials next to the, the correct letter there. So that's how this is going to work. I will go over it. You guys are going to get to see how I look at a nutrient line, what the numbers that I look at are, how I do my calculations, and how I decide what I'm looking at, if it's what I want to be using, or if there's anything else that I need to be able to, feed my plants. And I'll talk about what that would be. So if I'm reviewing a nutrient line and I come across something where I'm like, okay, this is missing something here, this is what I would add to make that correct. And I'll talk about that too. So, all right, I'm going to get this out of the, oops, wrong one. I'm going to get this out of the way. And you can see I've got General Hydroponics. I want to see the next one's up there. General Hydroponics all queued up for you. So that is what we are going to review first. General Hydroponics has been around for a long, long time. General Hydroponics is kind of like a standard in the commercial cannabis space. A lot of people use it. There are a lot of nutrient lines that copy General Hydroponics directly. I can't say that that's not the case. That there's a lot of nutrient lines, especially liquid, conventional liquid nutrient lines that just pretty much just take the General Hydroponics formula, make it very slightly different color, whatever you want to, slightly different ingredients, but same general principle, and then they'll sell it as their own nutrient line. And so yes, there's a lot that's good about General Hydroponics, and we're going to go over that today. But so let's just head over to their nutrients. And if you guys are not aware, they've got a bunch of different ones, but the most common is the Flora series. This is the one that you're going to see at virtually every grow store in the United States. Almost all of them are going to have the Flora series General Hydroponics. So, and if you guys have any issues seeing anything that I'm putting up on the screen, if it's not super clear, or if there's something that I'm not seeing that you guys are missing or whatever, let me know in the chat and I will fix it. But yeah, so you can kind of see their little marketing thing here. That they've been around for such a long time. They do a great job with it. I like their little artwork. Like everything about the General Hydroponics is one I'm just so used to seeing it. It's something that's been in my it's a part of my let's just get rid of this. And it's nostalgic for me at this point. I've seen this for so many years, and it's really a staple. So here are the three products. You've got a micro called Flora Micro. You've got a Flora Grow, and you've got a Flora Bloom. You can see it's 501 216 054. Here, real quick. I'm going to see if I can. Okay, I'll put the feed charts in a new tab, and we'll go over that in a minute. But all right, so I guess we'll start from left to right here, and we'll look at Flora Micro first. I know they have their information for it here. View full analysis. Okay, so here is your guaranteed analysis for Flora Micro. It's got 5% nitrogen. So here, let's do this. It's got, nitrogen's 5%, potassium is 1%, calcium 5%, and then you've got 0.1% boron, 0.0005% cobalt, 0.01% copper, 0.1% iron, 0.05% manganese, and 0.0008% molybdenum, and 0.015% zinc. I'm not going to go super deep into calculating all of the micronutrients per se on these, but from at a glance, I can generally, sort of tell you what I think about these nutrient numbers once I take a look at the feed charts. But yeah, so there's a little bit of some balance issues in just starting with the micronutrients here. Boron being at 0.01, it's okay. I mean, it's fine. Copper also being at 0.01. Usually those aren't on the same level. Usually you have a little bit less copper than you do boron. You're looking to kind of supply your plants with about a part per million of boron and definitely less than that of copper. So right there, we're kind of already starting a little bit off balance. And then looking at cobalt. Cobalt is one that's not really included often. There's a lot of nutrient lines that leave that out. And being as there's only 0.0005%, which is less than the amount of molybdenum that they have in there, it's one that, it's not going to affect your plants to a major extent either way. So that one I'm not even really going to pay attention to right now. And not to say that it doesn't do anything, but for this purpose, we'll talk about the important ones here, more important ones. Iron being at 0.1%, that's good. That's kind of typical. Manganese being at 0.05%, I would prefer to see that a little bit higher. The manganese being half of what the iron is not usually what we like to do when we're providing micronutrients to plants. Manganese and iron should be actually relatively close to each other. Maybe not the same, but relatively close. Maybe slightly less manganese than iron. And then molybdenum, that number is fine. I've seen higher amounts of molybdenum, and then zinc honestly should definitely be higher. 0.015%. It's really, you're going to end up with probably needing some more zinc at a certain point with your with general hydroponics. If these are the only micronutrients that you're providing, and we'll find that out as we move into the next two parts. But let's make sure I'm not missing anything on the chat here. Norma was saying he uses some general hydroponics products, and House and Garden is another good one, Joe. I don't have that one queued up for tonight, but maybe if we run through these three, I will move on to that one real quick. What's up? Is it Whittam? Hey, how you doing? But yeah, so that's kind of, I would say, as far as micronutrients go, I would give it a score of like a C+. That's just kind of at a glance. I'm not doing the calculations, but yeah, I would say C+ on micronutrients so far. And we'll skip on to the looking at the next parts here, and then we'll look at the feed charts that they recommend. Okay, so this is and mention the name of the product here. This is the Flora Grow. So this is your vegetative growth product, and this is what you're going to use pretty much from the beginning, and you're going to use that probably. I'm guessing that they're going to have you combine it within the flower portion of this also, or they're going to maybe move strictly over to the Flora Bloom. If you guys are just joining, I just want to feel like obligated to mention, if you see me just like dripping sweat right now, it's because I've got a little bit of a fever, and I took some Tylenol, and the fever is currently breaking. So that is what's happening. And I am sweating quite a lot because of it. So just ignore that. Little fever, not going to stop me from doing the live tonight. And I just feel like, I'm not sure how visible it is on camera, but it is pretty severe. Okay. So for the Flora Grow, we have 2% nitrogen. We've got 1% available phosphate. Let's call that P. And then we've got 6% soluble potash. That's K. And for magnesium, we've got 0.5%. Okay. So until I see the full feed chart, I'm not even going to make any judgments on the macronutrients. And what you got here, I'll drag this over so you can see what I'm doing here. So as I'm always looking at a nutrient line, this is what I'll do. I will, so I got General Hydroponics Micro, I got the Flora Grow, I wrote down the macronutrient portions of what's there, what's in there, and you know, this C plus here was for the micros. And I'm not, you know, I just don't have time tonight to do the full analysis on the micros, but I can post that at a later time if you want. But what you see I wrote here is my, you know, I just took the notes on what macronutrients are in the micro, what macronutrients are in the Flora Grow. And I'll move on now to the Flora Bloom, and we will get the numbers down for that, and then I'll show you how I calculate what a good nutrient line is for me and what a not so good nutrient line is for me. And I would say not even for me, I would say for plants. I'm not drinking it. Plants are taking it, plants are using it, and it's pretty, you know, it's factual at this point what plants need and what cannabis plants especially need, and it's really not information that is out there in the cannabis industry that's fact. In other industries, in like the viticulture, like wine grapes, there's a ton of, it says much better on the laptop versus the phone. Kosher nutrients is one that I've heard of recently. Oh, thanks for, what am I donating, Jason? Thanks for doing this. Yeah, no, I love doing this kind of stuff. Hey, Colin, what's up? Sammy, kosher nutrients has been good to my autos. Yeah, that's a new one to me. That's one that I hadn't really heard of before. And I'll definitely look into, that's one of the ones I have on my list to look into in the future. But yeah. So anyway, viticulture is, you know, like the science of growing wine grapes or grapes in general, and there's some real like specific standards of what the plants should be fed and what they require, what they need to be fed to get the best results out of them. Creating a standard like that for cannabis is something that people have been doing for quite a while, and just because it hasn't made it out into the industry and it's common knowledge like it is in the wine grape industry doesn't mean that it's not true. And really it's the cannabis agronomy space that has figured this out to a real major extent. And that's kind of what I'm basing all of this on, is thousands and thousands of leaf tissue analysis data points, and those are linked to harvest numbers, THC numbers, terpene numbers, overall quality of the product. We have all this data that we've done in all of our years of doing cannabis agronomy, and we've gathered a ton of data along with other agronomists working for other companies out there. You know, we all kind of work together in that way and share data to create this platform of this is what cannabis plants need, this is what autoflowers need, this is what photoperiods need to thrive and to get the highest possible yields and the best possible results. So the Flora Bloom, I'll do this one in another color. Flora Bloom has nitrogen is, no nitrogen. We've got potassium equals 4%. Magnesium equals 1.5%. And sulfur equals 1.0%. And you know, they really should put it in here with it. All right, so I took down the notes of the numbers for the macronutrients in the Flora Bloom here. And really what they should have added into that is their CalMag, because the CalMag is always sold along with that. Let's see if we can pull that up. Here we go. Let's just see if we can get the back label on this real quick. Just if we can pull the numbers for it. Do it quickly here. I know I saw the back label for it. Was that all the pictures? I swear to God, that picture on Google was the back label, wasn't it? Weird. Okay, well, that didn't work. I should have had this pulled up before. Kind of slipped my mind to add the CalMag in there. But, guaranteed analysis. Not going to trick me again there. Okay, here we go. This should give us the information we're looking for. Right, cool. Yes. So, CalMag, we have got 1% nitrogen, 5% calcium, 1.5% magnesium, and 0.1% iron. Now, this particular CalMag is actually an excellent CalMag. The ratios in here are great. I have to admit, you know, as far as just when you look at just the CalMag product, I would recommend this particular CalMag to anyone who's looking to boost their calcium and magnesium with their plants and is not specifically looking for a organic product. As it relates to just ratios of the macronutrients in a CalMag, this one is one of the best. And it's pretty difficult to argue with that, just because if you know what you're looking at and you know exactly how much magnesium a plant requires and what kind of calcium that you need to supply and all that kind of, or you know, the amount of calcium that you need to supply, this one does it in a really great ratio. And I'm not even sure what the price is like. It's probably pretty expensive, but yeah, this one, as far as just the numbers go, it's a good one. So now, I'm going to show you how to calculate your nutrients here. So I've showed you guys the formula for calculating parts per million of a macronutrient for a, let's just move this back over. So I've showed you guys the formula for calculating the macronutrient ppms, and that's really what we use to decide if we're supplying everything that we need to supply. Because, you know, we have a system at Speedrun Seeds, you know, with the agronomy that we do, we have a system where we know exactly how many parts per million of each micro and macronutrient we would like to supply to the plants. You guys have probably heard me say that 100 times if you've been here every week, but this is a really big part of knowing if you're supplying what you ought to be supplying, is starting with this. You know, if you're out there and you're using a nutrient line and you're not 100% sure about it, follow along with me on this, because I highly recommend learning this skill set to be able to determine if the nutrient line that you're interested in trying is supplying everything that you need, and if you would need to add anything else in outside of what the nutrient line has at base level. So I'm going to pull up in the background here their feed charts, and I'm just going to pull up the Flora series. And now we've got the 3-part. Wants to open up a PDF here. Okay. So I'll move this guy out of the way. So here's your feed charts for the Flora series, and they are, and they're telling you ppms of nitrogen here, which I love. Okay, guys, so this is a perfect example. You've heard me say we start our seeds at 200 parts per million of nitrogen, right? Like that's from sprout. We start them at that, and that is how you refer to a fertilizer in the agronomy space. When an agronomist is talking to another agronomist, you refer to a fertilizer, say, oh, how many parts per million of nitrogen are you at? Because you can use that to calculate everything else. So right here, you see that they're starting at 60 ppms of nitrogen from seedling and clone, up to about 135, 180, late growth, late vegetative, 210, and then they start going down with at early bloom. I'm not sure if you guys can see that. Maybe I should zoom in. Yeah, so anyway, this is where they're starting. You know, here's your beginning, and they even give you your EC values here and your total parts per million. So this is a really important distinction here, and you guys have probably heard me say this before and maybe haven't really fully absorbed it, but when I talk about the specific ppms of the of a specific macro or micronutrient, I am not talking about this number down here. Let's see if I can circle it right here. This number right here is not what I'm talking about. This is the ppm range on your 500 scale. So like that's if you set your ppm pen, your meter to 500 and you dip it into a solution that you've made at this rate with your nutrients at 2.5 milliliters, 2.5 milliliters, and 2.5 milliliters. Is it looks like what they're kind of telling you. And this is their aggressive feed. This is their heavy feed schedule. Down here, you see their medium and you see their light feed schedule is available also. But I'm going to start with the aggressive one. But yeah, so that is your total ppms. That's what you would see with a pen. And then what you get by calculating is this up here, your total nitrogen ppms, your total phosphorus, your total potassium. So that is what we're going to be doing tonight. And I'm going to use a little nifty calculator. We're actually going to have this calculator on our website very soon, but I'm going to dip over to another website right now just to make sure that we can do this quickly. And I'm going to use a calculator that's going to show you guys exactly how to calculate this. So for now, we're going to start with the micro, grow, and bloom, and we're going to enter in all of our numbers into a calculator real quick. So let's do this. Okay, there's a little nifty calculator here, and this works really well for calculating your micros and macros. So what you're seeing here is, and it'll be very similarly laid out on our website, but what you're seeing here is it's asking you your dilution rate in milliliters per gallon. You know what? I'm going to move myself out of the way just for a minute so you guys can see the full screen here. Okay, so what you're seeing here is your milliliters per gallon. And if we'll refer back to the feed schedule here, we've got 2.5, 2.5, and 2.5. And this is for week 1. So looking at 2.5 milliliters. And now from writing all that information down, we know that we have 5% nitrogen plus in the micro. And then we've got 2% nitrogen, 2% nitrogen in the grow. So now that's 5 plus 2 is 7% nitrogen because you're adding them at the same, you're adding them at the same rate, 2.5 and 2.5 milliliters per gallon. You can just kind of add them together. So you've got 7%, that's right, I can't leave and have it open like that. 7% nitrogen so far, and I believe it was all nitrate nitrogen. I can check that, but it'll come down here also. This is not going to affect your total percents or anything. I'm actually not 100% sure why he separates, the guy who made this, why he separates nitrate and ammonical nitrogen and urea nitrogen. I'm not sure exactly why it's separated, but usually in these salt formulations, it's nitrate. All right, so now we're going to move on to potassium, and we have got, move on to phosphorus, I'm sorry. Make sure I wrote that down right. Hold on one sec. My numbers don't look super correct there. Hold on one second, guys. 054. Double check this one. All right, so Flora Bloom was 5% phosphate, 4%. Okay, yeah, I just missed the phosphorus. Okay, cool. So we're gonna add in our 5% phosphorus. We had 4% in the Flora Bloom and 6% in the Flora Grow of the potassium. So that is gonna bring us to 10% potassium. And now we've got 5% calcium in the micro. And it looks like we also had 1% potassium in the micro. So now we're at 11. Jeez, that is some amount of potassium. We had 1% sulfur and 1.5% magnesium plus 0.5%, so we got 2% magnesium. Okay, so this is all of our numbers for the 3 parts. And now we've had it set at 2.5 milliliters per gallon. And because we're adding 2.5 milliliters per gallon of each one, right, I'm going to go ahead and break it down by each. Sorry. A little bit out of it tonight, guys. Sorry, my head is a little cloudy, but all good. We're going to do the micro first. So we've got potassium at 1, calcium at 5, and let's just get rid of these for a second. We're going to do the micro first real quick. We'll just blast right through it. And that's at 5. Okay, so this is just your General Hydroponics micro. So let's calculate that. Oh, geez. You want at 2.5, and then you want weight per volume is what you're always going to check on this. Got your numbers there. Okay. So now it just punches out your parts per million. So 4, and I'll go ahead and drag this back over. For your General Hydroponics micro, now you've got nitrogen equals 46 parts per million of nitrogen. I'm sorry, that was for 7. You've got 33 parts per million of nitrogen. You've got 6.6 parts per million of potassium. And you have got 33 parts per million of calcium. So now we're going to move on to the next one, and we're going to add all of these numbers together, and you will have your full analysis of what this nutrient line will provide just with the 3 base products. You've got 2% nitrogen, you've got 1%, and we're moving on to the Flora Grow right now. 1% phosphorus, you've got 6% potassium, and you've got 0.5% magnesium. Oops. 5% magnesium. Okay, no calcium in that one. And then you're going to want to clear your thing here. You're good. Calculate. Okay, and did I leave the thing up here? Oops. So you can see I just calculated the next one here, and this will give you another 13 parts per million of nitrogen. This will give you another 6 parts per million, or 6.6 parts per million. Phosphorus, you've got 39 potassium, and you've got 3 parts per million of magnesium. All right, we'll move on to the bloom here real quick. Blast right through this. Now we are at no nitrogen. Phosphorus is at 5%. Potassium is at 4%. Magnesium is at 1.5%. Sulfur is at 1%. 0.54 and 1.5. Perfect. So at 2.5 mils per gallon, calculate. And that brings us to 33 parts per million of phosphorus. I'll swap this back out for you. That's 33 ppm of phosphorus, and we have got 26.4 parts per million of potassium, and we've got 9.9 of magnesium and 6.6 of sulfur. So now we've got our numbers for all three at 2.5 milliliters per gallon. Now at this point, all we have to do is see if I can make this a little smaller for you. There we go. Yeah, we just have to add these together now. So I will pull that up real quick for you. Let me get myself back on screen. Okay. I'm just going to pull up my little calculator here, make this quick. So for nitrogen, we have got 33 plus 13. 46. And for potassium, we've got 6.6 plus 6.6 plus 26.4. We've got 39.6. For phosphorus, we've got 6.6 plus 33 is also 39.6. And magnesium, I can just do in my head here, it's 12.9. And calcium is 33. Okay, so these are your, oops, I'm right in front of the numbers there, aren't I? These are the numbers that you have for General Hydroponics on their initial beginning feed. That's what we're, make sure I'm up to date here. Keep an eye on the chat. Okay. Yeah, so that's the numbers that we're being told when we calculate everything out. Now, what did they say that you were getting? 60 parts per million of nitrogen. And we're at 46. I'm not sure where they're getting 60 because we just did the math. And unless I missed some nitrogen somewhere, it's a little bit higher than what they're saying. It's in the generally the same range, but yeah. So for our autoflowers, for most autoflowers, you're going to want to start way closer to 160 or as a minimum. We like to start our autoflowers at 200 parts per million of nitrogen. We blast them right out of the gate. It helps boost that vegetative growth phase. It helps them grow extremely quickly at the beginning, and they don't miss out on any nutrition that they need to just explode. If you can keep your environmentals correct, if you can put them in a media that drains well and that doesn't inhibit their growth at all, they will take all the nutrients that they can be given. And this is their extreme. This is their aggressive feeding schedule. That's what they're telling you to start at. If you look here, switch colors. Your potassium and your phosphorus are at the same level, which you always want your potassium and your nitrogen to be much higher than your phosphorus. Boosting the phosphorus to really high numbers is something that is kind of like an old school misconception that really permeated into the growth of the cannabis cultivation world, where they thought boosting your phosphorus improves and increases your yield. They call it inflorescence yields, which is just your bud growth and your flowering growth. That's not the case. They've done a lot of studies on this, and phosphorus, increasing the phosphorus to above 100, 150 parts per million does not actually improve your chances for getting higher yields. So that right there, there's no reason for their phosphorus and their potassium to be at the same level. And then overall here, guys, these numbers are way too low. That phosphorus number should be almost doubled. That potassium number should be multiplied by, what they call that, 40? You should be multiplying that by 5, just about. The nitrogen should also be multiplied by around 5. So these are, 5-fold too low. Calcium also extremely low, and magnesium also, a quarter of what it should be at minimum. These are really low numbers for plants. And I understand that they're saying seedling and clone phase and photoperiods are different than autoflowers. But if you start an autoflower seed, especially one of our autoflower seeds, and you start them at this nutrient rate, you're not going to get the growth that you could possibly get out of them. And I've had discussions with people who use general hydroponics, and I've made them nutrient schedules that work extremely well. And what you would really want to be seeing for the seedling phase, let's just say, if you're not 100% sure that your environmentals are perfect, and you want to give them enough, but not so much that, you're providing nutrients that they wouldn't be able to use, maybe because the temperature isn't perfect, or the humidity isn't perfect, or there's something going on, the drainage isn't great, there's something going on with them where, you want to cut it back just a little bit, which a lot of people do. So what you would really want to see is nitrogen equals about 150, and phosphorus equals about, let's say, 60. Potassium equals about 140. Calcium equals about 130. Actually, you know what? No, I need that to be at 150. Magnesium is about 50. Now, these are the numbers that you would ideally want to see to start your plants off, still feeding them nice and heavy, still giving them everything that they need, and not providing so much that, maybe there's some nutrients that they couldn't use, or it's a possibility of them getting burned because the rest of your environmentals aren't perfect. They don't have enough light. There's a lot of reasons why you would want to cut back and lower the nutrients just a little bit, and that's the feed rate that you would want to start with there. So that is that's general hydroponics. That's where we would start with that. The next thing I would go on to do is to create a nutrient line, a nutrient schedule with these components that would provide you those numbers. And we don't really have time to do that on the stream here, but it's something I could post on the social medias or on the Facebook group or whatever. But this is what I do, guys. This is the science of calculating your nutrients. And I want to make sure that haven't seen chat move in a minute here. If you guys want to shoot me a message there just to make sure that I'm still seeing it live. But yes, yeah. And so the nutrient calculator, just like this, will be on our website. You'll be able to do all of this stuff. There will be instructions on how to use all this to do exactly what I just did. And you can come back and watch this video and learn about, what do I need to do to rank my nutrient line? So that's at the beginning. So that's the first week, and it would take forever to go through all of the weeks, but you don't see. Okay, good. I can see you guys going. I can kind of just base it on looking at the numbers here. So you can just take these numbers and you would divide 4.8 by 2.5 and then multiply by that number to get the next one and the next one and the next one. But kind of just based on where they're starting and how the ratios are laid out and the ratios of their micronutrients, I'm going to say, their feeding schedules is a big part of the nutrient line because that's what people will follow. And just because I like the actual nutrient itself, it's a decent nutrient, and just because the micronutrients are a little bit off and their feeding schedules are slightly off, I'm going to put General Hydroponics in C tier. All right, guys. So we've got our first one ranked. Now, if you have any questions on why I ranked it C tier, feel free to ask them. But I'm really basing it on, just kind of looking at where they're starting with the feed schedule and where their micronutrients are at. There's some things that are great about it. There's some nutrients, guys, that I would easily put D, E, F. There's a lot of them out there that would be really low. And I'm going to be relatively harsh on these nutrient lines because some of them leave a lot to be desired, and they're providing you what you're going to feed your plants to get the best results, and the nutrient program that they recommend is what you're going to follow. So just based on what I'm seeing right here with this, General Hydroponics will be in C tier for now. Now, I'm going to go through it a little bit deeper, and if I see anything where it's like, oh, okay, they have another feeding schedule that's way better for autoflowers, and here it is, and it actually, the micronutrients don't come out too bad in the end, I might move it up to B tier or even A tier because there's a lot of things about General Hydroponics that I really like. I didn't calculate it in with the CalMag, but it only would have helped the calcium and maybe a little bit of the nitrogen, but that's not, it's not going to help us too much at this point. So I'll move on to the next one here. Okay, so on the last stream where we talked about nutrients, you guys saw me get into gold leaf just a little bit. Now, gold leaf is a single part liquid fertilizer. Single step, they say, liquid fertilizer. And this one it's complicated for me because as far as being a single step liquid fertilizer, they do some things right. I'm not going to deny the fact that they do some things right. However, there's a lot of stuff that they're missing. There's a lot of stuff that they're saying that they're doing that they're actually not. And I remember there being okay, so here's what they say. Gold leaf is a true single-step liquid fertilizer that delivers every essential plant nutrient to hydroponic and soil-grown plants. It eliminates the need for multiple products, saving growers time, money, and water. What they're saying here is that this is a true kind of saying they make it weak so you use more and then need to refill. It's about the cash register to most nutrient lines, sad but true. That definitely factors in 100%, is that they're selling mostly water here, and they want to make sure that they're increasing their profit margins as much as possible, which that's any of these large companies that are selling nutrients. It's understandable that they would want to do that, but they could also provide a product that meets all of the nutritional requirements, and I don't believe that those two are mutually exclusive, as you'll see demonstrated with our nutrients when you guys start using them. But so what they're telling you here is that we are a gold leaf. I'm speaking as gold leaf here right now. We're a one-step fertilizer. You only need one bottle. You only need our nutrients. You don't need anything else. We have a full range of essential plant nutrients for hydro and for soil, and you don't need multiple products. So we're going to provide everything that you need, okay? Now let's figure out why that's wrong. Because I know it is, because we looked at this last time. So, remember I thought it was right at the top of the page. Wholesale, safety data sheet. Let's just click on their nutrients tab. Okay, yeah, so here's the basic guaranteed analysis. And then here's for a list of guaranteed nutrients. Click here. So let's see. Right. You guys have seen me pull this up briefly before, and I'm going to kind of go over it here. So I'm going to go ahead and take notes again. Now we are on to gold leaf. And since they only have one part here, I only need to do this once. So we've got our nitrogen equals 5.52%. Phosphate, 4.6%. potash, which is potassium, equals 9.66%. pH, we don't need to really even look at right now. Specific gravity, we don't really have to look at the moment. What am I looking at here? Phosphate, phosphorus, boarding limit, standard unit. Reference. Okay, so let's just move on to the micronutrients. You have got, I'm going to only kind of go over the important ones to talk about here. Boron equals under the reporting limit. Now, you guys have to remember here, they are sending this in for an analysis to demonstrate to people that they have a nutrient that provides everything that your plants need. The laboratory that analyzed this data, or that this sample, the reporting limit, which means if your nutrient contains less than this amount, it's not going to show up on our test. You know, it might be present in there, but we cannot say how much because it's lower than the amount that we can test for. That's what that means. So let's look at how many of their nutrients are under the reporting limit. Boron is, they call that LOQ, by the way. I'm trying to remember what that stands for. But lower, you know what, just to be scientific here, does LOQ. Limit of quantitation, okay? So it's below the limit of quantitation. That's what they're saying. Copper is below the limit of quantitation. We have got manganese, very important nutrient, below the limit of quantitation. We have got calcium at 0.65%, low. We've got iron at 0.09%, magnesium 0.39%, sodium we're not even going to talk about tonight. That's not, we don't need to get into that one. Sulfur 1.12%, and I'll tell you why that's there in a second. And zinc, LOQ. Let's do this. Okay. So that's a lot of lower than quantitations, lower than the limit of quantitation on some of these nutrients, guys. Like that's, you know, aluminum, again, it's not one that's a make or break thing. That's not, we don't need to really get into that one today. I'm talking about just the ones that are common and in all of the other nutrients that you're going to see, or should be in all of the other nutrients you're going to see. These are the ones that are important to talk about. So why are we under the limit of quantitation on so many of the important micronutrients? Why can't you tell us how much is in there? You know, getting a test like this done and not providing another test that actually shows how much, and just the fact alone that it's 0.01 is the lowest amount that they can test for. And so many of these fall, you know, iron should be at 0.1, you know, I guess at 0.09, it's close. But the manganese should be above 0.05. Remember I was saying manganese and iron should be pretty close to each other? Manganese is drastically low. Boron, low, very low. You know, copper, again, you know, that one's, depending on how low it is, it could be 0.009, which it wouldn't be awful to have your copper there, but it's still pretty low. Zinc, way too low, you know, and then sulfur, that's only there because they're using magnesium sulfate, and they're probably using some other sulfate salts. So the way that works is magnesium sulfate is MgSO4. For every molecule of magnesium that you have, it's attached to a sulfate molecule, magnesium sulfate. And that sulfate has sulfur and oxygen. And that means that for every magnesium molecule, you're carrying along sulfate molecules, and there's going to be more sulfur usually in your magnesium sulfate than there is magnesium, because it's MgSO4. So always, and also sulfate salts. When I say sulfate salts, I mean you've got your copper sulfate, your boron, actually usually boric acid, but you've got your manganese or iron sulfate. You've got your zinc sulfate. These are micronutrient sulfate salts, just as the magnesium sulfate, Epsom salt, is attached to a sulfate molecule because that's a very easy way to deliver it. The micronutrients are often sold as sulfate salts. Sometimes you'll see them as chelates, chelated micronutrients, and that means that they are wrapped in a larger molecule, kind of like a claw-shaped molecule, and that is to help the absorption of them, and it also makes them more stable in solution. So you'll either see chelated micronutrients or you'll see sulfate salt forms of micronutrients, and that sulfate sulfur there is only that high because it tagged along with other stuff that they put in there. They didn't add that to make sulfur that high on purpose. So let's punch this into our calculator. What do you say? Clear this one out. We got to go back and look at their recommended rates. Where were we? There we go. So we've got all this written down. We don't need that anymore. Dosing charts. Let's look at high value crops. I guess that's what we're talking about for cannabis. Okay, look, they've even got an autoflower feeding schedule. Fantastic. I love seeing this. I might say some things about gold leaf that aren't the nicest, but I love that they have an autoflower and photoperiod feeding schedule here, because this is, and they've even got light cycle. I love seeing this. This is beautiful. This is great. This is music to my ears. This is art to my eyes, I guess. What's the equivalent of music to my ears for my eyeballs? But yeah, let's see, I'm missing some chats here. Sound is very low. Hold on, guys. Is that any better? Can you hear me now? All right, let me know if you guys are having any issues with the audio. I just turned it up a little bit, but it was at pretty high. Loud and clear, Adam? Okay. Well, if you guys are continuing to have any issues, Joe says it's better? Okay. Yeah, always, guys, let me know as soon as you hear an issue, because if there's a problem with the audio with these videos, I have to delete them tomorrow. So I love it when I don't have to. So as soon as you notice an issue, because I'm not good enough at this to know, that maybe I need to have, one of our employees or somebody watching these and letting me know immediately if there's something off. But I right now I'm relying on you guys to let me know if there's any issues. We'll get better at this. We're definitely going to refine this process. Hey, we've got it up, so now that we can scroll through stuff and actually talk about some content. So that's always good. It's louder, perfect. So autoflowers, seedlings. Yeah, he said it says clones under autoflowers. LOL. Yeah. I think they just copied and pasted all of that stuff. They didn't change it at all. Just maybe the weeks here, but the titles they didn't change. Light cycle 24 hours, 18 hours. Okay. Yeah. I don't. Wait. What? Hold up. We'll talk about the nutrients in a second. Let's talk about this light schedule here. Seedlings 24 hours through week 3, 24 hours. Weeks 4, 5, and 6, time to stretch, 18 hours. You reduced your light to 18 hours when the plant is stretching? Why? Why does that make sense at all? No, guys, you're wrong, Gold Leaf. There's no evidence to support that that's correct. 18 hours is really low. I don't support that. I like what you're doing here with the photo period and auto flowers feeding schedule separate, but no. Okay, so let's look at their feeding schedule. It is week 1, 2 milliliters per gallon. Weeks 2 and 3, are, oh wait, week 2 you drop it. Oh no, I'm sorry, I missed that there. No, I was right. Yeah. Week 2 and 3, it is 5 milliliters per gallon and 8 milliliters per gallon. Okay. Starting at week 4, you're at 10 milliliters per gallon. Going to week 5, also 10. Week 6 and 7, you're dropping it down to 8 mils per gallon. And finishing at, oh, they want to do a 2-week flush, guys. Good to know. Gold Leaf is telling you to do a 2-week flush. Isn't this organic nutrients too? Isn't the misconception that you don't have to flush with organic nutrients, like even though you don't have to flush at all? Okay, so let's just say nothing for weeks 8 to 10, but for week 7 you're down to 6 mils per gallon. Okay, so let me pull this up. Now that we've got all of our information, I will pull my tablet back up for you. And this is what we're looking at here. We've got Gold Leaf. Here's all the numbers. You know what? I am even gonna put these in another color to make it easier to see. Okay, so we've got all those there are non-detectable. Everything else here we can punch into the nutrient calculator. Now this is one part, so it's going to be nice and easy. And I'm going to stop after this one, guys. I'm already way past our hour. I've been going a little bit longer than an hour because I kind of changed the streaming format that I've been using here. And I think these streams kind of warrant a little bit longer videos. I appreciate you guys sticking with me. There's already still over 30 people here, so seems like you guys are kind of digging this format, I hope. I'd like to see Kronk. That's on my list, Adam, actually. After this was going to be Foop. But we'll start with Foop next time, and then I'm going to probably maybe I'll fit in Kronk next time also. Yeah, I'll make a note to do Kronk next. But yeah. So we're gonna punch this in. So week 1, we're at 2 mils per gallon. Nitrogen is at 5.52. Hate this keyboard. Phosphorus at 4.6. Potassium 9.66. We have magnesium 0.39. Ignore these numbers over here, guys. Those are from the last one. Those will go away. Calcium 0.65. Iron 0.09. Magnesium 0.39. I put that in there. Sulfur 1.12. And calcium. Zinc was lower than, yeah, that's everything. Everything else was lower than the limit of quantitation. So we're at 2 mils per gallon now. So here's what they want you to do for week 1. Did I switch to the right thing here? Whoops, nope. There we go. Here's what they want you to do for week 1. Nitrogen. We have 29 parts per million. That is so grossly low. We have got phosphorus, 24, almost equal with nitrogen for week 1. Unbelievable. We've got potassium, 51. We've got magnesium, 2. Sulfur, we've got 5.9. Calcium, 3 parts per million. Iron, 0.47. I think that was everything. All right, guys. So what you're seeing here is like amounts of nutrients that are so low that almost your plant wouldn't notice a difference. These are really low, really low. I just want to make sure I'm not getting that wrong. 2 mils per gallon. Good Lord. Okay. Real quick, let's just bang through the rest of these because I can just punch them right in and recalculate it. So let's do that again. Now we're at 5. All right, so this is for week 2. Week 2, now you're up to 72 parts per million of nitrogen, 60 parts per million of phosphorus. You're up to 127 parts per million of potassium. You're at 5 parts per million of magnesium, 8 parts per million of calcium, 14 of sulfur, and 1 part per million of iron. Okay, so now let's talk about how much iron. Can we get a list of optimal values for each? Yeah, Joe, I think I put up the list of, what the optimal values are for, the first week kind of for the macronutrients, but I'll put that up here. Yeah, let's bang through these, and then I'll put that up at the end. I'll compare it to what it should be. We'll do that. That's how we'll end the stream here. So we have got nitrogen at 72. You want your nitrogen to be, right now, week 2, you're looking to blast it at like 200. Phosphorus, 60 is okay. Phosphorus is 60 is totally okay. Not when your nitrogen is at 72. If your nitrogen was at 200, actually a phosphorus level of 60 parts per million, that's okay. Potassium, 127, that would be okay if your nitrogen was significantly higher. Magnesium, way too low. That should be 7 times, 8 times higher, 10 times, more than 10 times higher what it is now. Calcium, again, that should be at least 150, and we're at 8 parts per million. Iron, you've got a part per million there. We like to ride iron at around 3 to 4 parts per million, so you're not crazy low. I've seen nutrient lines that are worse on iron. So hey, we're getting better. We're getting better than it was in week 1, but still missing a lot. Also, not to mention all the micronutrients that aren't here because they were lower than the testing, the limit of quantitation. So they wanted us to go next to week 3 is 8 mils per gallon. Let's just skip to week 4 at 10. Because that's weeks 4 and 5. And then we'll do 8 a little bit later. But okay. So now we are at 145 parts per million of nitrogen, 255 of potassium, 255. We are at 10 parts per million of magnesium, 29 sulfur, 17 calcium, 2.3 iron. Okay, your iron is still low, but it's not terrible. Calcium, ridiculously, grossly, horribly low. Magnesium, extremely low. Sulfur is still low. I mean, I'd like to see sulfur over 50. And then potassium, way high in relation to your nitrogen. If your nitrogen was up there too, okay, yeah, you could ride your potassium that high potentially. And then phosphorus, already way too high. Phosphorus is now way above what it should be. Your phosphorus should be at 75 max, really. That's where you should be. Adam, have a good night. Yeah, we're gonna be wrapping up soon here, guys. This is the last one. I just wanted to kind of finish this one here, and we will. So I'm gonna skip to 8. 8 was for week 6. So weeks 4 and 5 was for weeks 4 and 5. Oops, I forgot to get rid of that number there. No. So that was for weeks 4 and 5. Now we are at, why is it not doing it? 8. Clear. Okay. So now we're down to 116 parts per million. Remember, we're talking week 6 here, which is, you're in full vegetative, like still, you might be in your transition, not vegetative. You're in your flowering stretch, and you should be getting crazy growth, even like almost vegetative style growth. And this is not what you want to see for that. So your nitrogen, again, is just way too low. Your phosphorus is high, not crazy high, but high. Your potassium is actually good. If your nitrogen was up there too, I would say you're in good shape. Your magnesium is, again, extremely low. Calcium, extreme. That's going to be the same story. Iron, lower than it should be, not terrible. So like all those are always going to kind of maintain the fulfilling acid. What? What do you mean, what's fulfilling acid? Fulvic acid? Ask your question again, Colin. Okay, so, and we finish here at 6 mils per gallon, which you can imagine is just going to be a little bit lower than this, but your ratios are all going to be the same. So, gold leaf, as far as a 1 part nutrient, as far as what they promise to do, and the promises that they're making, being able to, so here's what I wrote for gold leaf here. So here's their feeding schedules, here's their percentages, and that was the ppms for week 1. That's right, I said I would do the optimal ppms. So let's do that. I'm just going to do a ballpark. I'm going to do like a mid-veg one, and I can post these numbers somewhere else. Actually, these are going to be on the membership side of the website. We're setting that up right now. We've got a whole thing coming out. But for right now, I'll just kind of give you guys a quick breakdown. So your nitrogen, so let's just say this is week 3. I'm going to give you a week 3 number here. Nitrogen, 50 to 300 parts per million equals So there's your macronutrients, and you see for sulfur there, I put 50 to 300 because there's really no such thing as sulfur toxicity. This one, you can be really high, and it's not. I've never seen a plant. There's really not any recorded, unless your salinity is so high that it's hurting your plants. But a sulfur toxicity is really unheard of. So you could be, at least as long as you're at 50, you could be 300, 400. I've seen it at 400, and you're okay. Magnesium, you're going to want to be between 60 and 70, 65, 75. So you can go a little bit higher, and it's not going to hurt anything. And sometimes people like to, just to make sure the plants are getting what they need. But that's really there's the minimum of what they need. Calcium should be at around 250. Potassium, 220 to 250. Phosphorus should be at 65 to 80 or so. Nitrogen should be at 250 to 300. And, if you're talking at the beginning, week 1 or so, you're talking closer to 175 to 10 for nitrogen. And let's just say week 3 and week 1. Your phosphorus is going to be more like 50 to 60. And your potassium is going to be more like 150 to 200. Your calcium is going to be right around 200. Magnesium going to be about 50 to 60 also. Your sulfur is going to keep that at minimum. Minimum you're going to be at 50 plus. So right there, those are like your week 1. You kind of work your way up a little bit toward week 3. The giveaway is this week. We are probably going to do another seed counter giveaway. So I've been sick. That's why, if you weren't here earlier on the stream, I wanted to head into the office today to do that with Eric, but I'm just still afraid I'm a little contagious. So I think tomorrow I'll be good. But as soon as I can get there to do the seed counter giveaway, that's what we're going to do. I've just been having a little bit of a fever and some sinus stuff going on. So I should be all good tomorrow. So I'll make a post about the day that we're going to do it. I'll give you guys like a day or two of notice. Fulvic acid. Colin asks, what is fulvic acid? Fulvic acid is humic acid and fulvic acid are two things that are very similar. Humic acid, I believe, breaks down into fulvic acid, and fulvic acid is much more available to the plant. Fulvic acid helps with the uptake of micronutrients. This is one of those like soil biology things that I'm not 100% an expert on because I don't really use the. We've got a computer right in front of us. Let's get Google's answer. Let's pull it up on Wikipedia here. I know it's like an amino or it's a protein acid. Hold on. Amino acid maybe? I'm trying to remember exactly what type of here we go. Okay. Humic substances. It's an organic compound. Looking for. Are you going to get a breakdown of. Looking for fulvic acid here. No, I don't think that they're going to tell us 100% here. But says soil scientists hold a holistic view and at least recognize that humus, which has humic acid, influences soil fertility through its effect on water holding capacity in the soil. Since plants have been shown to absorb and translocate the complex organic molecules of systemic insecticides, they can no longer discredit the idea that plants may be able to absorb soluble forms of humus. So this may be an essential process for the uptake of otherwise insoluble iron oxides. What that means is the plant can uptake these things, humic compounds like fulvic acid and humic acid, and with that comes micronutrients. And then it's a bioorganic molecule, so I'm trying to remember exactly if it is an amino acid. Dissolved organic carbon. Okay, well, here's your humic acid molecule. That's your answer. Colin, is that it helps with the absorption of micronutrients, and it helps with your soil structure. It helps your soil maintain your cation exchange capacity, and helps the soil to maintain good structure, aggregate. When I talk about aggregating in soil, it means it kind of clumps together and allows water to pass through in certain ways. Just overall, with your soil health, it's a good thing to have in there. And it holds cation nutrients, so it holds the nutrients that have positive charges, and the plant can apparently absorb it straight up with the humic acid, which is interesting. I didn't really know that. So molecular structure and chemical. Oh, that's why I'm not 100% sure, because Their molecular structure and chemical remains elusive. So a lot of people kind of get confused what this stuff is, and it's probably because scientists don't have a really clear view of exactly what humic and fulvic acid, according to Wikipedia, are. It seems weird. Anyway, that's the best answer I can really give you on that one. I know that it does assist with plant growth to some extent. Did I just have the thing? No, I'm good. I'm good. I moved it. Okay, anyway, let's just finish this up. So there's your week 1 versus week 3 numbers. Gold leaf. Okay. It's not an F. It's not an F. It's an E. Gold leaf, you kind of make me sad because with a little bit more nitrogen and some more micronutrients and some more calcium and magnesium, I think the reason that they didn't put the calcium in is because calcium can kind of interact with other nutrients and it can precipitate out. But then they're trying to make a 1-part nutrient, which I think is a really lofty goal, and I don't think that they achieved it. Yeah. These are the 2 that we got on there tonight. I think maybe we'll try to knock through them a little faster on the next live streams because I have got a few queued up, or one at least queued up that we didn't get to, which is the always infamous FOOP. So unfortunately, you guys won't get to see me talk about this one tonight. I had a lot to say, but we'll have to push that off to the next stream. But I am excited, though, to talk about FOOP because I have a lot to say about it. Because you've probably heard me talk about it before. So, okay. We're going to wrap it up. We have got drop on Friday, nutrients shipping this week. Here, let me cover all that crap up. Nutrient shipping this week. I'm going to make some posts about exactly the days that they'll be shipping out. And we have got strain coming out on Friday. We've got mystery beans dropping this week. You're going to see me do a couple more lives probably this week just because the nutrient line's coming out. I'm going to make some more videos and maybe I'll do some of them live. I think that kind of wraps it up. Any little questions I'll take at the end? We're already an hour and a half in here, so thanks for sticking with me. The giveaway. We've got the 4,000. We hit 4,000 members, guys, in the group. Insane in such a small amount of time to have done that. You guys are so awesome and so supportive. I love you guys a lot. And really appreciate everything that you're doing to support the brand and to support us. So thank you very much. I should look into the camera. Seriously, from the bottom of my heart, I'm so flattered and humbled to have gotten it, at least here. Like this is just. And the rate that things are going, it's really unbelievable. So thank you very much. I really mean that. And post your newts percentages, etc. Yeah. So that's all gonna be on the bottles. And yes, I will post all of the guaranteed analysis percentages and stuff. Giveaway to the founding members. Yeah, maybe that sounds like a pretty good idea. No, guys, it's been awesome, and here, real quick, let me close that out. Yeah, we've already got 316 subscribers on the YouTube channel, which we only made like a couple months ago, or like a month and a half ago or something. So I think we're gonna be hitting like 1,000 subscribers, which is when you can monetize on YouTube, pretty quickly. I've seen people like struggle to get to 1,000 subscribers in like a year or year and a half or something. It takes people a long time. So you guys have just been super supportive and awesome. And Discord has been popping off. I get notifications from it all day. I still need to learn Discord a little bit better, but the Discord is there. If you need an invite to the Discord, I can post something or I can message you. Discord is good. So that's where we're at for tonight. I think I'm gonna wrap it up. I love you guys. I'm just making sure I'm not missing any post feeding schedules. Yeah, Ed, the feeding schedule is extremely simple, and it's going to come with the nutrient line, but we will post it. There's going to be a card and a QR code, so people who want to read it in print can read it in print, and for people who are okay with scanning it on their phone and reading on their phone or their computer or whatever, can do it there too, or you can find it on our website. But the feeding schedules are going to be extremely simple. You're going to be adding 60 milliliters of each of the A's and B's to your gallons, which is you squeeze the bottle once, dump it, squeeze it again, dump it, and there's a fill line. You know what? I'll grab one real quick just to show you how that works. Okay. Yeah, so here's the bottles that the nutrients are going to come with. Obviously, they're going to have our labels on them, which those are getting put on tonight and tomorrow. But here is the measuring vessel. Let's see if I can get that to focus. I don't think so, but there's a 30 milliliter line here and a 15 milliliter line and a 5. You're just going to squeeze this, and it'll fill up. It'll push through this tube, fill up the 30 milliliter line, dump it into your gallon of water, fill it up to the 30 milliliter line again, dump it in. You've got 60 milliliters in there, and that's it. You do that for A, you do that for B, and you've got your nutrients. And if you're using half a gallon, then you do 15 milliliters. You just kind of range it based on how much water you're creating, how much of a large of a bucket or whatever you're making nutrients for. And that's, yeah, we still got mutant packs. Yes, actually, that's crazy that you asked that question. We have a strain that is going to be coming out from mutant genetics. This is like a super secret thing, and I can't believe I just said it out loud. But yeah, we have a special mutant genetics edition strain that's going to be coming out. There's only still 31 people here, so I feel weird saying this. I thought it's like if it was just a few people left, I would be okay with it, but shh, don't tell anybody. So we were moving stuff around at our facility, and I think it was under one of the storage cabinets. We had been looking for probably a couple months for a bag of seeds that we had done a test run of. We were blown away, and nobody could find the bag. Nobody knew what happened to them. We assumed that one of our employees had stolen them. Like, that's kind of what we thought. And then we moved a cabinet, and there they were. So we found this bag of seeds we were going to release as one of like our original mutant genetics strains. Lost it, and we found it again. So yeah, we're going to be releasing a mutant genetics strain, mutant genetics edition strain, and that's going to be coming up relatively soon here. Soon. So Ed, no, sorry. For people who might not know, we used to be called Mutant Genetics. In the first couple months of us existing, as we were not Speedrun Seeds, we were Mutant Genetics, and for a few different reasons, we decided to change our name. So, yeah, we're going to be releasing a full Mutant Genetic little deal there. Oh, you said you still have Mutant. Well, now you just got me to reveal that entire secret for nothing. No, you guys are cool. I'm happy to kind of like, the people who will stick with me for an hour and a half till the end of Alive. Yeah, you can get a little bit of the tea there. So, okay, guys, I'm going to have to run. I'm going to go make myself feel a little bit better, hopefully, in the next 24 hours. And we got a big week ahead of us, so I'm going to get ready for that. Love you guys. Thank you for sticking with me till the end here. And I will catch you this week for sure. And I will be here same time, maybe a little bit earlier, about 5 o'clock maybe next week. Love you. Have a good rest of your Sunday night. I will see you soon.